Long ago, in the sunlit lands between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, there lay the kingdom of Sumer, one of the very first civilizations. Here, amid golden plains and winding rivers, people gathered to cultivate the land, to build cities, and to bring order to a world of wild forces and unpredictable floods. The Sumerians lived in a land of extremes. The rivers could be life-giving, nourishing fields and filling canals, but they could also be ruthless, flooding homes and washing away precious crops. To survive, the Sumerians worked together, building canals and levees to control the rivers, inventing the first plows, and transforming the barren earth into fields brimming with barley, wheat, and dates. As they harvested the fruits of their labor, their villages blossomed into towns, and finally into magnificent cities. One of these cities was Uruk, a city of high walls and proud towers. According to legend, these walls were built by Gilgamesh, a mighty king whose tales of bravery and wisdom would echo through the ages. Inside Uruk's walls, life flourished. Farmers worked the land, merchants filled the markets, artisans crafted jewelry and pottery, and priests performed sacred rituals. Uruk was not alone, for across Sumer, cities like Lagash, Kish, and Eridu rose, each with its own gods, rulers, and people. In the Sumerian world, gods were everywhere. They believed each city was guarded by its own divine protector. In Uruk, it was Inanna, the powerful goddess of love and war, as passionate as she was fierce. In Eridu, Enki reigned, the god of wisdom and water, with laughter like the flow of rivers. The Sumerians honored these gods in towering temples known as ziggurats, which were tiered structures that reached skyward. Each level of a ziggurat was brightly painted, and at the top was a small temple where priests would bring offerings, food, and precious goods for the gods. People believed that the gods lived in these temples, watching over their city from above. The priests were vital figures in Sumerian life. They were not only spiritual leaders, but also wise advisors and keepers of knowledge. Through rituals, stargazing, and careful study, they sought to interpret the gods' wishes. They recorded laws, guided the rulers, and kept accounts of the harvest, trade, and taxes. To capture all this information, the Sumerians invented cuneiform, one of the world's first writing systems. Using a reed stylus, they pressed marks into wet clay, creating wedge-shaped symbols. With cuneiform, they recorded everything from epic tales to legal contracts, preserving their world in a way that would last for thousands of years. Numbers, too, held great importance in Sumer. They developed a unique counting system based on 60, which allowed them to divide circles into 360 degrees and measure time in 60-minute increments. They tracked trade, calculated taxes, and measured land, all through this ingenious number system. The Sumerians even mapped the stars, believing that the movements of the heavens reflected the will of the gods. But life in Sumer wasn't all work and worship. The Sumerians were creative people who loved art, music, and storytelling. Artisans crafted beautiful jewelry from gold and lapis lazuli, and musicians played on drums, flutes, and harps during feasts and ceremonies. Storytellers recited myths and epics, the most famous of which was the Epic of Gilgamesh. This story followed King Gilgamesh, a ruler of Uruk, on his quest for immortality. He fought monsters, traveled to the edges of the earth, and searched for eternal life, only to learn that the meaning of life lay not in living forever, but in creating a legacy of kindness and wisdom. Trade was the lifeblood of Sumer's cities. Merchants journeyed up and down the rivers, bringing precious goods from distant lands. They returned with silver, cedar wood, lapis lazuli, and other treasures. The marketplaces buzzed with activity as traders bartered for goods and exchanged stories from far-off places. Sumer's reputation for wealth and culture spread far and wide, and it became a coveted land, admired by neighboring peoples. Yet, Sumer's independence was also its weakness. Each city was proud, and competition often flared into conflict. They fought over water, land, and resources, each city trying to outshine the others. These rivalries made them vulnerable, for while they fought amongst themselves, other groups took notice. Among them were the Akkadians to the north, who dreamed of ruling such a prosperous land. It was under the ambitious leader Sargon that the Akkadians swept through Sumer, city by city, uniting them under a single rule. Sargon built the first empire, the Akkadian Empire, blending Sumerian and Akkadian cultures. Sumer's language, gods, and customs intertwined with those of the Akkadians, creating a world that was both old and new. But no empire lasts forever. Droughts, invasions, and internal strife weakened Sargon's empire over time, and soon Sumer's cities again sought independence. But the fertile lands were now dry, the canals less reliable, and the gods seemed silent. New peoples arrived, the Amorites and Elamites, each bringing different beliefs and customs. As the land changed, Sumer's cities, weakened and weary, began to fall under the control of new rulers. Sumer's story might have ended there, as its people faded into the flow of time. But the legacy of Sumer lived on. Their inventions, writing, mathematics, laws, and literature became gifts to the world, shared and adapted by other cultures. The epic of Gilgamesh, etched into clay tablets, would be told and retold, carrying Sumerian wisdom to new generations. Their numbers shaped the way people counted time, measured land, and understood the heavens. Tonight, as you drift to sleep, remember the Sumerians, the farmers who tamed rivers, the kings who built cities, the priests who sought the will of the gods, and the storytellers who dreamed of eternity. Their world may have passed, but their stories remain, reminding us that human achievements can endure, even against the great river of time.